removed from her mother's care, and police reports reveal multiple foster placements. Makhia Bryant was in her 5th foster home in less than 2 years when she died, shot by a Columbus police officer. It's what many in the community call a tragic end, bringing the 16-year-old's life and the care she was receiving into the national spotlight.
This is the case of the state of Ohio versus
Inside the Franklin County Municipal Court in late June,
I'm charged in this case with domestic violence and assault. I will accept your written plea of not guilty, requesting trial by jury.
One statement read in open court led me to take serious questions to Children's Services.
The defendant is a social worker with Children's Services. Apparently he has issues with alcohol, was intoxicated, looks like drugs, Adderall, crack, meth, has been diagnosed as bipolar, not med compliant, abuses those meds, has been suicidal in the past, homicidal threats, including claims of abuse in the past, weapons use or threat to the victim in the past.
That's referring to the person who documents and sources say had been working as Makhia Bryant's caseworker.
Currently works for Franklin County Children's Services.
I took that name to the Bryant family's legal team, who have the same on record. We aren't naming the caseworker because this person isn't facing charges connected to Bryant's death. This is all from a court hearing for domestic violence, events happening in late May. I started looking into this person's past. These Circleville Municipal Court documents from 2009 show the same name and date of birth. Inside, it details reports from witnesses. This person was, quote, stopping at houses and, quote, trying to open car doors looking for prescription medication to take. When a deputy arrived, the person was found inside his car that had struck a tree. The deputy, quote, could not detect an odor of an alcoholic beverage, but says this person was unsteady with slurred speech. The deputy starting a field sobriety test and wrote he, quote, would not follow my ink pen with his eyes, and he almost fell twice while I was trying to administer the test. This person was arrested and eventually pleaded to a physical control charge. This was prior to being hired by the county in 2015, but no mention of it on this job application. I looked through personnel files and employment records, but many pages like this are blacked out. On this page, it shows the county was aware this was flagged in a background check. Is there enough oversight? I took these questions to Children's Services. What did they know and when? Was Children's Services aware of this while he was working with children? How many caseworkers and active cases are there in the county? How big is the caseload on these workers? Is there not enough state funding for Children's Services programs? Their response: there is no further case information that FCCS is able to provide at this time. No response when I asked again. While they aren't talking, the case file reveals many more details. I did request and review this worker's file in a public records request. It shows different times this person was put on leave, including just before Bryant was shot and killed. The reason not shown. It even details the load of cases given to workers, here listing 18 cases, for example, at other times 12 cases. Throughout these pages, positive reviews from a review stamped November 2019. It says the caseworker, quote, understands the importance of building relationships and nurtures those relationships to promote child safety and permanency. In this review from 2017, it details struggles with record keeping. It was previously discovered this person was, quote, struggling to maintain valid and detailed documentation that's relating to client contacts. When you look at the Bryant case from your perspective, were there fumbles or were there issues that stand out to you?
First, we don't feel that Makhia should have had to come into foster care. There was a failure to provide supportive services to the grandmother that would have kept her safe.
Ronald Browder founded the Ohio Federation for Health Equity and Social Justice after around a 25-year career working for the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and leading the Children's Defense Fund. Browder has been a foster parent himself.
Ohio, is sort of a bifurcated system in that it has state supervision and county administration, but the reality is there is not enough state money being put into child welfare to support families, to support the system, to do what needs to be done.
Browder thinks the key is more community resources.
We far too often bring families into our system. We've got to figure out how to keep them from coming into the system.
Kids are at the center of all this, and data from the state shows it's an increasing number of kids here in Ohio. In 2010, more than 21,000 Ohio kids were in foster care. By 2019, more than 27,000, and 2020, nearing 26,000 kids. I asked Browder about my findings into Bryant's caseworker.
Are there enough checks in place to make sure that these kids are safe?
Well, I think that county directors, I think they do a pretty good job of making sure that their staff are competent. Again, Hayley, I think what becomes a problem is when people get overwhelmed. And that's whether you are coming into the system as a client or whether you're working in the system, you have to know where to go to get help. And you have to feel comfortable enough to go to get help.
Was she failed by the system?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think the system failed her I think it failed her in a number of ways. We have to really think about what happens in crisis. When families are in crisis, we have to decide, are we there to help, or are we there to harm? If we bring a child into a system because we felt that they were in danger and they end up dead, somehow it just doesn't seem like that worked. Somewhere something failed.